Today we're going to demo the termination of our TFT-5G-401 cable. This cable is a pretty unique construction. It's a low PIM cable that's listed as plenum by Underwriters Laboratory, and it's ultra flexible. I mean, you can do this with it. There's just not PIM cables out there that you can do this with. So it's great for in building because it's plenum rated, but we're seeing lots of applications in small cell where things are just really tight, spaces are tight, things need to be threaded through conduits and lamp poles and that type of things. So it's become very popular. Sometimes you have to do a field install. Most of this cable is provided as finished cable assemblies, tested for VSWR insertion loss, passive intermod, data on the cable, serialized, test curves on the website, that type of thing. But sometimes you just have to terminate stuff in the field. Maybe a length that you weren't, you didn't count on. It could be something have to feed through, like I said, through a conduit or a bulkhead, that type of thing. We have our TCP connectors, our low PIM TCP connectors. This 4.3 happens to be a 4.3 connector. So, like with a lot of connector termination instructions, starting with a good cut is really important. This is the CCT03 cutting tool. Just place it onto the cable, a couple inches back from near the cable, spring loaded, put your finger through the tool like that, and just spin around the cable. What it does is it just scribes through everything, cuts through the jacket and the plastic, and just scribes the center connector and snaps it. What it does is gives you a nice square, clean cut without crushing the cable. It leaves the center connector nice and straight and burr-free. So it's a really good way to get started. At this point, we'll take the back nut off the connector here. We'll slide this back nut onto the cable. Then we'll slide this collet onto the cable. We have a little packet here, a couple washers, a pin, a little rubber washer. Open that up there. Slide our rubber washer on there. Slide our little gland there. We got all that on the cable. Then we'll take our ST TFT-401 prep tool. Has a little stop in it. So you just slide the cable until you hit the stop. Let the spring close the cable onto the cable and spin it. And all this is doing, and you could just, at that point, you could just clamp down here and maybe give it an extra spin. And all we're doing here is removing the jacket, 10 millimeters of jacket. And what I would do is just take a razor like this and just place it straight down, same axis as the cable. You can rock it a little bit. You'll feel it pop through the jacket, and just give it a little twist, like so. And then you can just peel that piece right off. And this is what you end up with, like that. At that point, you take the round wire braids, and you're just going to fold them back. And what you're going to expose is a silver-plated copper flat braid. Now you're gonna have to fan out those flat braids. You just take the razor, just get it started. At that point, you got this little washer. This washer is gonna work right over the Teflon dielectric. It's gonna be a very snug fit. And you're just going to push this down onto the braids like so. At that point, you're going to take your razor, flush it right up against that washer, and without a tremendous amount of pressure, you're just going to push the blade through that Teflon, that expanded Teflon. And once again, just like we did with the jacket, I would take the razor, the same axis as the cable, and line it up onto the Teflon there. Well, actually, it's pretty loose already. And you also notice that center conductor is nice and straight and burr-free. That's because we use this tool here. At that point, we have our pin, and we have our PCT, Pin Crimp Tool 401 tool. This tool has 3 settings. You have a little switch here, adjustable switch. It's for type N, 4.3, and 7/16 DIN. So we have a 4.3, so it's the middle right there. It's just a little nest to hold the pin. You drop the pin right in there. Then you line the pin right up on the center conductor, like so. You put it right up against the washer and do 1 crimp. Now your pin is all set to go. You bring your bushing up there, And at that point, you just want to trim the excess braids. Now, in this step here, you don't have to be too particular. You just don't want braid wires hanging back all the way over this gland here. There's no need. You just want enough braid there to make that electrical contact. So what we're seeing right there, that looks perfect. Bring everything back up, that collet back up. At this point, we put the front of the connector, place that over the pin there, just like so. And that just threads right together, like so. And then at that point, you can just take, I think it's 14 millimeter or a 9/16. They're basically about the same. And you can just tighten that right up. And you're good to go. Thanks a lot.